Oh my life, I'm back. And today, finally, I'm going to formally introduce you to a very special little mare who joined us here under our sanctuary scheme back in June this year. You'll have heard me call her Skinny Innie. She is in fact INNE. So a few of you have been asking about her, and she's started to be known a little bit as a mystery mare. And I know I've been a bit vague in my videos, but I promise it was all for good reason. But now is the right time for me to share her story and also give you a little bit more of an insight into how our sanctuary scheme works and how she fits into it. So INNE was born in the Netherlands in 2010, which, as many of you know, is the birthplace of Friesians. Her father is a stallion called Maurus, and her mother's sire is a stallion that I know because he sired my own original boy Drommy, a stallion called Nano. So she came to the UK when she was just 8 years old, and she went to the most wonderful lady who thought that she'd found her dream horse. Now, like many Friesian owners, she intended to keep INNE for life. You know, she was part of the family. But over time, it became clear that INNE wasn't your typical laid-back Friesian. Hey, darling. She says no. She says, although I'm going to look very laid back right now. She's a bright, kind, and really willing mare, and there's not a single mean bone in her body. But she does have some quirks and some insecurities about life in general. Now, it's not due to anything that's happened in her life. It's just her. It's just who she is. You know, although she doesn't look it right now, she's full of energy. She's eager to do the right thing. But she does need an awful lot of reassurance and confidence from those around her. So her owner tried really hard to work with her, but struggled to understand, I suppose, her mood swings and her behaviours. And a few years down the line, she reached out to us for a little bit of help. So that's when INNE first came to stay with us under our sanctuary scheme in 2021. And we spent several months helping her just to adjust to the human world in which she was living. She did struggle to find her place in the herd initially, but as her understanding grew, she became more and more settled and confident. We did investigate some potential health issues with blood tests, various investigations, but ultimately some of her quirks are just part of her personality. We worked very closely with her owner to strengthen their bond, and together they made an awful lot of progress. And when they went home, we all hoped for that happy ending. Unfortunately, life doesn't always go as planned, and sometimes difficult decisions need to be made, as we all know. And a few years later, INNE's owner reached out to us again. She'd become overwhelmed with work and life pressures, and she was struggling to give INNE the time and attention that she needed. She genuinely hoped to keep INNE forever. But what with her busy schedule and her own lack of confidence with INNE, it made her feel that she couldn't continue to provide the very best care for her. She tried advertising INNE online, but she found herself unable to part with her, often feeling the pressure to let her go, but never truly comfortable with the idea of sending her to a stranger. In an incredibly heartfelt message to me, she admitted that guilt was driving her decisions, and all she wanted to do was what was best for INNE. So she asked if we would consider having INNE join our sanctuary scheme on a permanent basis, explaining that knowing that INNE would be with us would be a huge weight off her mind. When she reached out, we were at full capacity, and you all know we've got Nero here. But I couldn't say no, because we already knew INNE and we already understood a lot of her needs. So the plan was to foster her out quite quickly to someone who could give her the one-to-one attention that she so desperately needed. We're very lucky that we've got a network of foster homes across the country of people who see horses as family, not possessions. And we had someone in mind who seemed like a perfect match. But unfortunately, things didn't work out quite the way that we were all hoping, and this only came to light last week, hence why I can share the story with you now. So now, with winter approaching and knowing how long it takes INNE to settle into a new environment, it's really not the right time to move her on. So she'll be staying with us for a bit longer, certainly throughout the winter. She is beginning to settle with the herd, and this week she had her very first session with Rachel, our cranial chiropractor, who worked on her head specifically just to try and help with some of her anxiety. Because of her nature and some of the behaviours that she's displayed, there's a very good chance that she too could have ulcers like Ice has. So I'm hoping that with your help we'll be able to investigate and treat this accordingly. But I'll tell you more about those plans in one of our other vlogs. So whilst INNE won't get as much one-to-one time over the winter, Jodie, Frey and myself will do everything we can to keep her happy and healthy with help from our volunteers and visitors. This brings me on to our sanctuary scheme, which hopefully I'll be able to video this without Nero eating me here. Every case is completely unique and our mission remains the same: to support any Friesian in need. We've had Friesians here as part of a temporary arrangement, helping owners through tough times. He's eating me already. Other times, like with Bear, Ice and Uber, the horses are permanently surrendered because their owners' lives have changed. But their priority, in most cases, like ours, is ensuring that these horses are cared for life. You all know this cheeky fella's story. You know, he was labelled dangerous and faced being put to sleep until we stepped in. Now, a year later, he's absolutely thriving and showing us his real cheeky side, but learning to live alongside us with a little bit of mutual respect and trust now. So, as we approach winter again, this is often the time that we can get calls to help. And just this last week, we've taken 2 more Friesians under our sanctuary scheme. After speaking to their owner, I took the decision to place them directly into foster care. Ordinarily, the horses would have come to us first for assessment before we look for the most suitable foster match. But the situation with these boys, along with their location, meant that it wouldn't be in their best interests to move them up here and then move them on somewhere else. This situation was very sad and by all accounts was nobody's fault, least of all the horses. Fortunately, we were able to find them the absolutely perfect foster home through our network of supporters who carry the same beliefs as we do about the lives these horses deserve to lead. And as I record this video, they're already settling into their new 5-star home down in Dorset. Once they've had a chance to settle in, one of our longest standing supporters, I won't say our oldest as she wouldn't forgive me, Jane Holden, will be going to check in on them to see that all is well, and we'll get regular updates that we can share with all of you who would like to follow them too. As many of you know, our sanctuary exists because we've been lucky enough to care for this wonderful farm, which has been in our family for 110 years. Everything we are building here is being built with the horses' welfare in mind. But we can't do it alone. We rely on our visitors, supporters like you, and really importantly, our dedicated patrons to keep this place going. Your generosity over the years has funded life-saving veterinary care and allowed us to start improving the facilities so that we can continue to give every horse a comfortable and fulfilling life. Most recently, your support has helped drive our 110k campaign, which is still running. This is helping to transform the farm for everyone's benefit. One of the most impactful ways that you can continue to help is by becoming one of our monthly patrons. These contributions go directly towards the day-to-day care of the horses. And if we can meet our running costs, anything extra will go towards getting additional help to do what we need to do to make sure that that can happen and to make sure that horses like INNE can live their very best lives. So I know I say it all the time, but I genuinely mean it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for believing in what we do and helping us to offer this safe haven to Friesians in need. So that's all from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about INNE, finally. And if you've enjoyed this and you enjoy what we do, please do like and comment. And if you've not done so yet, please hit that subscribe button because it helps us more than you can ever know. And we can't wait to share more stories with you about all the boys and girls here at Greenbank Farm. See you next time.